Hey everybody, I'm here with my good friend Jake. He's a horse trainer and clinician friend of mine. We've been training horses together for many years now. And he talked me into doing the Hot Ones Wing Challenge. So we're going to do Horseman's Hot Ones today. We're gonna answer horsemanship questions while we eat some of the hottest wings on the planet using these spicy sauces. Let's get into it. It is burning so much.
My lips are gonna be so fat when we're done.
My tongue.
Yeah. Don't breathe in.
It just hurts.
Yeah,
it just hurts and it just doesn't
not
stop
nice.
burning. Why are we doing this? We don't have to eat these. I'm questioning life's decisions right now.
Okay, so we're gonna start our Hot Ones challenge. We've got mild to wild, and what we're gonna do is Ryan and I are gonna take turns reading each other horsemanship questions. We're both gonna eat the wings, and then one of us has to read the question and the other has to answer it.
All right.
Are you
And we got some
ready?
lifelines here.
Lifelines.
So Jake and I are always a little bit competitive with each other. And so whoever wimps out first and goes for the water or the milk or the bread or even ice cream or maybe even Pepto-Bismol, not Pepto-Bismol, that's a horse thing. Some of you will get that joke.
You know, cowboys and their Peptos. Okay, you ready? So we're gonna start on this side of our cutting board.
Cheers. I didn't really get much heat there.
No, that's not too bad. This is the classic.
This is a wing.
It's a nice sauce. I think this one is garlicky. Wing
It's
one
just a good wing.
in. Jackie would like to know, what advice would you give someone buying a horse, but they aren't new to horses?
Get a vet check.
Get a vet check.
Can't go wrong with that. Want to make sure you're getting a sound horse. Yep. Get yourself a vet check. Doesn't matter if you're buying it from a friend or somebody you know, just because they're not a vet. So make sure you consult a vet. Is always good to know.
Yep.
And then secondly, if you could have somebody that you trust as that's more of a professional. If you're not a professional, look at the horse too, because they might see things that you're not seeing when looking at them.
Agreed.
You know, and once you buy the horse, you're stuck a little to a degree with it if it ends up not being what you wanted.
Yep.
So invest that time up front. Don't make an impulse buy. Make sure you're sure what you're getting. Consult a professional. Get a vet check.
Good answer, Ryan.
Easy. This is easy. I got
Piece
this.
of cake. Okay.
So next question. We eat our wing and then go to the question.
Eat our wing. So what do we got here? This one is Adobo Loco Island Wing. So pineapple cayenne pepper sauce.
Also, for those of you that don't know, Jake smoked these wings. He as good of cook as he is a horseman. That one was nice. That just the
That's
right heat.
sweet.
The sweet was good.
That is sweet.
Yeah, I would eat that one again.
Steffi's gonna like that one.
All right. Question is, when trailering, should you tie or not tie? This comes from Jeanette.
To tie or not to tie? That is the question. Personally, in my experience, I've always tied. I have seen one time I've experienced a horse that went down in a trailer. The trailer shaking and I pull over. I'm like, what the heck? And I open the window and there's no horse. I'm like, what the heck? And she had slipped and was tied. And I went back there and spank, bang, stood up. Okay, backed her off, checked her over. That's, one time. And I have traveled back and forth across the country so many times, countless number of times. I personally always tie, unless I am turning them loose in a box stall. So my trailer is a stock trailer, and you can have it all open. You can have 3 box stalls. It's not quite 12 by 12, but it's 3 box stalls, and depending on the number of horses, I'll sometimes let them travel loose. Usually what I would do is I would still tie them while we're traveling, and then if I'm overnighting, they can stay in there as a stall. I will untie them. They have a bucket of water and a hay net. Even if I have that trailer stacked with 7 horses and I'm driving across the country, or from your house to mine or mine to yours, where you are in Wisconsin, that's 20, 24 hours of traveling. I'm still gonna have a bucket of water and hay net available to each horse, and they're usually all tied. That's me personally. I think if I were to have a lifeline in there, it's going to be maybe a snap that could break free if they go. But in my experience, I've been safe and happy with them tied.
All right.
Next
up, what do we have here? Mescaline?
Yeah.
Oxycane?
Yeah, I think they call it mezcaline. I think it's like a Spanish style sauce that they'll a lot of do. I've seen it come in like a big bowl where it's all together.
I thought they were going to be hotter at the beginning. That one's got a little bit.
A little zippity. Not too bad. That's nice.
I'm worried about my lips and my fingers.
Just watch out for your eyes. All right. Shannon wants to know, how long does it take to teach a horse to ride bridleless?
How long does it teach a horse to ride bridleless? That would really drastically depend on the handiness level of the rider. So I one time started a colt bridleless for fun, see how that would go. So I did the first ride. So you could do it on the first ride, or if you have a horse that's like has a lot of go, or a horse that's had some baggage, there's lots of variables within that. Mm-hmm. But I would say if you're handy and you're really skilled, it doesn't take very long at all. I think people would actually be very surprised how little it can take to get to that point.
Yeah, I think it's so crucial on what's your focus. How is the horse trainability? Some horses are just naturally more trainable than others, and what's your focus? Like, okay, you can ride them bridleless. That means without a bridle, but to what fine tune? There's so many depends in that scenario, levels of measurement. So.
And for the record, we asked Facebook to give us these questions. So these questions were pulled from Facebook. We're drawing them at random.
So these are your guys' question. And
okay.
Next up, Los Calientes, the Verde sauce. So this is their green sauce. I've had this one before, and it is yummy. So far, all of these I would eat on a regular basis.
Yeah. Great.
Like I would season chicken. This would be good, even on some steak.
Yeah, the first one didn't do much for me, but these last three are good.
Yeah, that's
that
very
simple. That one's very good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
A little heat coming in there. A little heat coming in.
Mm-hmm.
The first bite, you take it and you're like, oh, that's fine.
That's fine.
Like, okay.
Builds a little.
Best way to break in a new saddle? Kendra wants to know.
Best way for me is ride in it. Get it on a horse, get it moving, and you just got to put miles in it. Use it. You can quicken this process with some good oiling. So you'll get the creaks out. I use personally neat's foot oil. I've used just nice olive oil in the past, and you can get it kind of good and oily where it can sit. You have to be careful with newer leathers. If you let it sit in the sun, it actually will bake and cook the leather. The way they've been tanned, you have to be careful with that. My saddle maker was telling me about this. But I like them to get a little warm, get that oil in there, and then just use them. That'll help with some of the creakies and that stiffness. But every time you flip that stirrup up and do your cinches and down and up and down and up and down and up, it just gets easier, where all of a sudden that stirrup stays up on the saddle. It's not falling and banging you in the head, and it goes. And then there are certain parts. I know this guy, he's got this YouTube channel. I think he's Ryan Rose. It's you. Really good video on where to put the baby powder up in there, how to do that on the latigos to keep those slide and slick. So there's some spots that you don't want to oil, but a little bit of oil will help with some of the stiffness, but mostly it's just using it.
Yeah.
You got to get miles.
7th Reaper.
And
it's a cowboy swinging a rope riding a bronc.
With that Carolina Reaper, that starts kind of flirting with the same peppers that they do on the one chip challenge type stuff.
Oh boy, so these are getting hot.
It's starting to get a little spicy.
So that one got a little warm at the end, but I would eat all of these. These are all good so far.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a wimp. I'm like the mild, medium salsa guy.
You saying you need some milk?
No.
Are you tapping out?
No.
Not yet?
Not even.
Not even close?
I'm going to take smaller bites though. So you like hot stuff?
I have trained myself to enjoy this more and more. I've always kind of liked spicy. This is pretty spicy.
My tongue's burning.
Yeah, it's burning.
Yep, that's
You're pushing me the cards. You're kind of like, giddy up.
that one's uncomfortable.
Yep. Michelle wants to know, how do you tell if a horse is troubled? How do you tell if a horse is troubled?
That is a good question, because I think fundamentally, if you're into horses, that is one of the most important things you'll ever work on.
Yeah.
So there's some classic body signs. You can look for their head being elevated is a real obvious one. If their ears are kind of like pinned back and more of a worry, not like that back, but like kind of back like this, the head is up. They're thinking about flight mode. They're not blinking. Usually they're not any movement in their mouth. Their lips are maybe pursed a little bit and tight. The breathing will be shallow and quicker. They're sweating kind of when doesn't match the temperature outside and the workload. There can be kind of an emotional sweat going on, maybe what we're about to experience.
I was going to say, that sounds just like me right now.
Yeah, and we can't forget that at the end of the day, all horses are prey animals, and so them getting troubled. And also, one of my pet peeves that I try to communicate on this channel is, does your horse understand pressure? If your horse understands pressure, that is one of the most important things to help them not be troubled. I call that taming. Training is when you're like teaching them a sequence that they already know and kind of stringing things together, combinations of things. But when you're just teaching them to accept things and be okay with it, that is a taming sequence there. And I really like to differentiate that a little bit. Yeah.
A little spicy?
Yeah.
We'll get a little closer to...
Start burning.
I get uncontrollable hiccups when I start doing spicy food. So far, I'm glad that I don't got the hiccups yet.
I wish we hadn't set it up with the whole cowboy if you go for the milk.
You're wishing you had the milk?
Because I'd like to take a swig of that right now.
If you eat that bread, you ain't no cowboy.
So we're going to take a bite.
Okay, what do we got next? This is the collards. I'm excited about this. Collards and ghost. So this is ghost pepper.
Ghost pepper.
Oh, baby.
Whew. Okay. What is the most... Is it warm in here?
I got the heat on. It's a little chilly outside.
Oh man, that is like burning all the way back. Holy cow. That's hitting hard right now.
You want to borrow my milk?
Yeah, I really want some milk right now. What is the most introverted horse you've ever worked with? That one's not fun.
I've had a few really introverted horses, and I think I would probably have to go with, we called him the Superman Slam horse. And the horse seemed really fine, and he would blow so hard that he would fling himself all 4 feet in the air and slam on the ground. And he did this with me on him. Luckily, I was bareback, and he did it 3 times. And it was like, everything's great. I'm laying on him. Seems great, right? And it's like, okay, let's just move a little quiet little. And he just, boom, exploded. And after 4 weeks of training, to just walk and stop and get rubbed on bareback was massive progress. The explosion to me is what really told of how introverted he was, that he just held so much tension and bother inside. A good gray horse was pretty introverted and had a lot of bother, but he still was pretty strong to tell you like where you could stick it and where you could go. And this other horse just was really shut down, and it was so frozen and stiff all the time. So
how are you not acting like that isn't really hot? My mouth is lit up right now.
I like it. Glutton for punishment.
You're like not even phased. That's why I'm like, I'm going for the water.
I'm gonna cry.
You got to keep going here.
I'm gonna cry as we get a little bit further.
Holy smokes! That was this one.
That was this one, the ghost peppered.
So we got 4. Okay, 4 left.
We got 4 left.
And this is
Turfing's Curse. Sauce it. Jenny wants to know, in the YouTube video, I made a big mistake. What do you feel you missed in his groundwork?
So she's talking about the video. Okay.
There's a video. If you'll maybe kind of share about that video.
So there's a video of a horse I was working with in Texas, and I said I made a big mistake because I almost got mucked out sitting on him.
My phone rang right after this happened. You called me and go, dude, I got to tell you about this. And so it really.
So there's kind of like two different ways you can go about preparing a horse like that. And what I was trying to do is do a bunch of more difficult things and release him to being saddled and release him to the rider. So I warmed him up real strong.
Yep.
And what I did the following days is I went slower. I let it take longer and I went slower. And by going slower, I never brought the horse up to that point of going there. And then I was able to ride him softer and it went better.
Yep.
So by trying to expose him more, because here's the problem with going slow all the time. Like there's nothing wrong with going slow for time periods, but if you do that with all the time, you're going to end up getting surprised.
Yeah.
So you're riding horses that are underexposed. You don't want to overexpose them, but you don't want to underexpose them. So you're trying to find the sweet spot. So on that particular horse, I think I had his life up a little too much, and if I just went around him a little bit, when I went around him a little bit slower and softer, it worked better. So hindsight's 20/20, and that was my second day with that horse. So I was figuring him out.
Yep.
And but that horse is still the margins of error on that horse were thin.
Wow.
Real thin. And that's what made it challenging because most people, amateurs, would not, even a lot of professionals, I don't think would be able to get along with that horse if they didn't go about it just the right way and were really paying a lot of attention to reading him. Yeah. And so where I made the mistake of, what I did to change strategies is I went slower, took longer, added more time.
Yep.
And it went better. My tongue is like warm and it feels kind of almost numb at this point.
Yeah. Does it feel like it's swollen?
Yeah.
Like you almost can't talk? It's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there. And my lips are going.
Oh, man.
We're getting towards the end here. All right, so next question.
So what sauce are we on next?
We're to Da Bomb Evolution. In case you guys missed it, I put a nice video for Ryan to get psyched out by this one. This is where Shaq really, I think, cried a little bit.
Okay, question for you is, when colt starting, what's the progression of bridles?
Okay.
Now, before we go on to this was Jake's idea and his thing, and we're filming this also for your YouTube channel. So he started a YouTube channel, and one of the major breakthrough points for any YouTuber is hitting that 1,000-person threshold. That is a big, big milestone, and usually your channel can get rolling right after that. What I would like you guys to do, any of you that are here with us watching, please head over to his channel, put a link down below. Head over to his channel, hit his subscribe button, and let's send Jake over. He's right on the edge of that tipping point. Let's send him over that edge, show him some love. So, and thank you for bringing me over here and doing this Hot Ones challenge.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You ready?